Last lesson you saw I only had 3 errors left, but that's actually not the case. Because the errors pretty much just told me, if you go back you can see they're just telling me that it cannot build any of the packages, so it kind of fails because the dependency fails. So it says, I cannot build the data access layer package, that's why the business logic layer package is failing, and that's why the UI package is failing, because the dependencies, they don't work together anymore. So that's kind of what you're getting. So you have to do a rebuild again now. So I'll do into build, rebuild everything, and you'll get a new list of errors, and there's a lot. Because we're actually now going into one of the sensitive layer right now. And let me try and show you what we're going to do first, because there's going to be some converting here between the different layers. And this is some of the reasons that people do actually add the cross-compatible layer out here, because this is kind of a pain to switch between these two in each layer. And you can discuss it in your team if you want the one or the other. Again, I'm very much into keeping this clean. That's what I have to teach you at least. So I'm going to keep it very clean here by saying this is going to be a database entity and this is going to be a business object. But to do that, I'll have to convert every time I move from this layer to this layer. I have to convert it from customer to business object. Every time I have to go from here to here, I have to convert it back to an entity. So I have to make some kind of conversion between these two every time I use them. And that's actually going to happen inside the business logic layer. So we're going to make a converter class, but for now let's just put it directly inside the service, because that's the only place where we convert back and forth between these two guys. So let's try and do this now. Let's make a converter inside the business logic layer. I'm going into the business logic layer and I'm going into the service class right here. Let me just zoom here so you can see where it's at. Business logic layer, service folder, customer service right here. So inside the customer service, we're going to go to the very bottom of the class right here. And here I have my update function. I'm going to go below that update function. And here I'm going to make a new method that's going to be private, because it's only going to be used inside the service for now. We might move it later. Now the idea behind the service is going to return a customer entity. So you need to write the customer and then import the customer entity right here. That's okay for the business logic layer, because that can know about the customer entity, right? Because that's a layer that's lower than this layer. Now the function is just going to be called convert. That's just the name I want to use. You can use whatever name you want to do. And inside this guy, what we're going to convert it from and to is we're going to convert it from a customer BO, right? The business object. And again, we need to do a using statement right here for the business object as well. And let's just call this guy cust for now. And here we're going to add the curly brackets to actually show this is a method now. We're going to do a new line like this, and we're going to actually do the conversion in here. And luckily it's very simple. We're going to return a new customer, and that customer is pretty much just going to contain the conversion right here, which is going to be the ID is going to be equal the cust ID, right? So we've done this before, or we've done similar things before, where we just kind of add these guys in here. Let me just wrap this up. So now we have the convert ready, except we just need a semicolon right here. Now we have the convert ready to go from a customer business object to a customer object. This is going to be a lot of code if we have to write this for every class, so we will use generics later. Yes, something called generics to make this so much easier. But for now, just live with it. Write some code, man. The more code you write, the better you will learn how to code right now if it's new for you. So write some code until we get to the generics part. Let's convert it back again. So we also need to convert that can take a customer object and convert it to a customer BO object, right? So I'm going to grab the code and just copy paste it, because right now it's just the same, except that we switch these guys around. So the customer BO is going to get down here and out here, and this guy is going to be put inside the object or the method parameter right here. So now we have the conversion back, right? And this looks very, very boring and very, very one-to-one. But notice I can now start deciding exactly what a customer business object should actually contain compared to an entity. So inside the business logic layer, I can start manipulating what the actual data should look like. I could even add an extra name, and I'll do that later, where we have a combined name inside the business object. But let's do that in a later lesson. Let's stop this for now. Now the converters are ready, and next lesson we'll fix the rest of the errors inside our customer service. Have fun.